happy campers.
Hello,
Spike.
Chris.
Show, here we go again. We are talking to you from the legendary Who What Where Studios out in the middle of nowhere for God knows what reason. It is Sunday, July 11th as we record this. Black Widow's out, so I guess we're going to have to sit down and do a review of this. Chris, I'm going to let you go ahead and give your review first, and then I'm going to weigh in with what I think, but I think we all know what I think. Go ahead, big boy.
So, yes, Black Widow is back. Scarlett Johansson's back. We get to meet her entire, supposedly, family. The trailer, if you have seen the trailer for Black Widow, it literally says that this is the best Marvel movie yet. And honestly, I will say this, it is good, but not that good. It was a surprisingly really good movie, but also very dark. There was the beginning, the first, 15, well, no, not 15, maybe like 10 minutes of the movie was very wow, that's cold-hearted. We're introduced to not just Black Widow, but her sister, who's not really her sister, but kind of is in a way. Her mom and dad, who's also not really, they're Russian spies, or...
The first 10 movies of this was not the Americans. Go ahead.
Yeah. But yeah, I mean, you're supposed to like what's the dad's character? What's his name? The Red something.
This is something we're going to get back to, and I talk about it. Red Guardian.
Red Guardian, yeah. I feel like that they tried to make him likable, but everything that happens at the beginning of the movie makes you hate everybody else. Literally. I hated their guts. I mean, they're likable, but also you can't forget what happened at the beginning of the movie to make you go yeah, I don't like them at all. To be honest, it was actually a really good movie. Really good action-packed film. I didn't care too much for Taskmaster. What the hell is it? Taskmaster. That person. Didn't really give two cruds about that person. The main villain, even though they didn't go too far into him, I got to admit, not a bad plan. Why all females? I have no idea. Oh. But other than that, I did enjoy it. It was pretty good. The people that stole the movie, well, that would definitely be not Black Widow. It's her sister, who literally stole the whole movie to me. I mean, she was very likable. I liked her. Very funny, sarcastic. But yeah, that's my take on it.
So you liked it?
I liked it.
There's 3 reasons he went with an all-female Black Widow corps. 1, 2, 3. Okay, that's why you do it. Well, maybe 4 back then. That's if you're Scarlett Johansson. But anyway, she paid for that by the pound, so she's gonna make sure you see it. Anyway,
but
no, that was Chris Evans. Anyway, so if you're done, let me say this. What was the name of the dad again? Exactly. Exactly. You were calling him Crimson Dynamo at one point. Even the movie called him Crimson Dynamo at one point.
It was Red something. I thought
Red Guardian. That's the problem I have with this story. They're not telling the story. They're too busy focusing on the boom, things go boom, and Scarlett Johansson's butt, and the pose. They mercilessly mock Scarlett Johansson and her handlers for the pose, which is where she sits down, spreads her crotch wide open, and then shows you her cleavage. You know the one, but poser. But anyway, So hopefully it'll be the last we see of them. But the problem is all of these characters are so forgettable. All of them are forgettable. None of them are very well developed. I know the criticism going into this is that Red Guardian wasn't handled well. It's a chick flick. Okay, this is Marvel's chick flick. This and Ms. Marvel. Those are the two chick flicks Marvel has done so far. But this is how Marvel does a chick flick, because you're supposed to feel all empowered and stuff. They're just not as blatant and heavy-handed with Black Widow as they did with Ms. Marvel. The problem is they're all forgettable. Very little character development in this thing. Out of all of them, the only one who stood out was the one you mentioned, the blonde chick. The blonde chick, the little sister of No, actually, I thought it was Natalia Romanoff. It's Natasha Romanoff, the real Black Widow. So apparently, little sister is going to be the new Black Widow, even though she wears white all the time, like she just jumped off the set of DC's Legends of Tomorrow.
Because
they did that. They did. DC's Legends of Tomorrow did that 5 years ago, guys. But how that's still on the air, I don't know. Anyway. Forgettable characters. The plot didn't show up till what, roughly 2/3 of the way through it.
Yeah.
But there was a lot of things go boom. There were some nice little Easter eggs in there, nice little hints and stuff. All in all, it wasn't like you had to go through a slog to watch it. But by the end, I was noticing my butt was getting sore. I was ready to move. And then we stick to, you have to stay after the end credits, because it's the always there Marvel end scene where Elaine Bettis comes in and tells Baby Widow that she has to go kill Hawkeye or something. I don't know.
Spoilers, by the way.
Oh yeah, spoilers. Anyway, so now here at the Spike and Chris show, we do have our very own rating system. We go from actually 0 to 5, because 5, if it's 5 stars, you would go out and you would pay full price admission to be able to go see this thing. 4 stars means, well, you'd go watch the matinee. 3, yeah, you might get it on Blu-ray or DVD when it comes out, but you wouldn't miss it much in the theaters. 2, you'd wait for it to come out on Netflix. 1, Pluto TV, you might hit up.
Wow.
Pluto TV, you might hit up Redbox if you see it or something. And 0 is you would see it and just change the channel. Out of that score, 0 to 5, how many stars do you give Black Widow?
Okay, so I know I'm going to get criticized by you for this.
Oh, you're going to get criticized regardless.
But I would honestly give it a 5. And the only reason why I give it a 5 is because, one, it's one of those that, you can go and throw popcorn in your face and you're back in the theaters again. That feeling. Plus, not to mention, I don't actually see this as a Black Widow movie. Because, surprisingly, they focus more on the sister than Black Widow herself. Did you know that? They gave the sister more of a story arc than...
Right, because Black Widow's dead. This entire movie takes place before the events of Avengers Endgame, where she dies.
That's true.
So...
Yes.
So we know she's dead. They're trying to set up the new character, and they're trying to give Jeremy Renner something to do before they get rid of him and replace him with a gyno equivalent, I guess. Because there is a female Hawkeye in the comics for all the good it did. But anyway,
yeah,
so you
I think.
Really going to give this a 5 star?
It was kind of fun, like it was an action.
It was kind of fun. I don't care about my money. I'll pay full price for it, even though it's kind of fun. Yeah, okay. I give it 2 stars.
Oh.
I would have given it 3, but they made use of American Pie, which is my mortal enemy. I despise Don McLean. I live for the day I can go spit on his grave for recording American Pie. The most overplayed, overhyped, played out, overwrought, worthless piece of hyper dramatic crap in the history of American pop music. And that's including Elvis's entire career. So that's saying something. So if they had just left American Pie out of it, they would have gotten 3 stars. The first play knocked it down to 2.5 stars. Second play knocked it down to 2 stars. And you're lucky you didn't play it over the end credits, or you'd be sitting somewhere in Pluto TV land. So 5 from him, 2 from me. That's our review of Black Widow in about 10 minutes. Now, there was something I was going to say, and I'm trying to remember what it was. It was related to this somehow, but never mind. You have a Scarlett Johannson story. Give us your Scarlett Johannson story, and maybe I'll think of it.
Yeah, okay.
And if I do think of it, I do reserve the right to just interrupt you and say it. But, anyway.
All right. This is what's on the news.
Newsish.
Newsish. There's not much here. As you can tell, there's one card.
Barry Diller. Barry Diller I was going to mention about, so hold on about Scarlett Johannson. Barry Diller we need to talk about. He went out and told the Daily Wire website about a couple of days ago I think, told them that the movie industry is dead. Barry Diller, for those who don't know, used to be the guy who ran Paramount. He was the CEO of Paramount Pictures. And then after that, he was the CEO of 20th Century Fox. He was the guy who made sure the thing operated day to day. He is saying that the streaming services have killed the movie industry in America, as in studio produces a movie, releases it to theaters, it runs for a few weeks in the theaters, and then you get a few weeks break, and then they release the DVD or Blu-ray, that runs for a few weeks, and then after a couple of months after that, then it goes to like Showtime, HBO, Netflix, wherever it goes from there. And so Barry Diller has basically said all the theater part of it is completely dead. A lot of the studios are now struggling because, quite frankly, nobody wants to pay for their stuff. Netflix is self-financed. Netflix is actually going out and paying people directly. They're not paying Paramount to produce a movie for them. They are going out and producing their own movies. So they're going out and finding a smaller production studio that will work for hire. There's a story for the ages. We've actually discussed that many moons ago, the concept of work for hire. But anyway, Netflix wants stuff they can own because Netflix built its rep off of offering Hollywood's stuff streaming online. Hollywood didn't know this would take off the way it did, so they happily licensed it out. And then when Netflix became a $1 billion company, all of a sudden Hollywood's like, hey, we want a taste. Netflix told them to go pound sand. They pull their stuff and put it on their own phony baloney streaming services that nobody wants to watch. There are 2 streamers right now that are profitable. Did you know this? There's 2. The way that everything is set up right now, and I warned you this would happen, I called it about 1.5 years ago. Netflix and Disney Plus. Everybody else is losing money streaming. Hulu is barely breaking even, and that's because Disney's subsidizing it.
I also said that Netflix will probably end up becoming their own movie studio.
And they are.
And that they will like actually put movies in theater, but it will, instead of seeing like Disney logo or Warner Brothers or whatever, you're actually going to see Netflix.
That's what they did with their Red Envelope studio. That was supposed to be for theatrical releases. They did that mainly so they could get Oscar consideration. Oscar has since given up and is willing to consider direct to streaming now for Oscars.
And honestly, I mean, as somebody who has pretty much watched a lot of stuff on Netflix, there's some good and there's some bad, but the things that are good, I will have to say, they are really, really good, and I can actually see Netflix literally moving up to that point where, yeah, they are going to distribute movies for theaters and stuff like that. I don't think that, I understand what did you say the guy's name was?
Barry Diller. You should look this up. You need to study him. He's an interesting guy.
I mean, Barry, we said this not too long ago where, what studio was it that they said that they was going to release a movie and then it was going to be on their streaming services and on DVD.
Oh, Disney's been doing that all along. Warner Media does it with
Fox, I believe
HBO.
it was.
Fox is now stuck with
Yeah.
Disney. I believe Universal's the one who hasn't done it yet.
Yeah, because they said that they was going to do this for the entire year, and we had this discussion where it's like, well, there's a vaccine out for everything. People are taking their vaccine. Things are opening back up. So this move that they're making is actually a bad idea. But if they still think it's a good idea, then let them run it. But I really hope and pray, even though if I'm wrong, I hope and pray that this does not happen, because people still enjoy going to the theaters. And I don't want to say it will never happen, but look at video stores. Look at what happened to them. I didn't think that was ever going to happen. But it happened in like that.
Mm-hmm.
And
well, it's rule number one of Uncle Juju. Rule number one, it's all been done before, okay? We've gone through this before. We have seen sea changes in the movie industry before. Talkies, that was a thing. The studio system until actually the federal government broke them up. That's where the studio owned the distribution, and the theaters that they showed in. They considered that monopolistic. We've seen the rise of radio. We've seen the rise of television. We've seen cable television. We've seen all kinds of things. And they all have had effects on the entire industry. Drive-ins, we saw drive-ins. Drive-ins were a dying breed for years and years, for decades. Shoot, now all of a sudden they're coming back because people now consider their personal space far more important. Shoot.
really?
Anyway.
Got them all choked up.
Yeah. So anyway, this is going to be one of those sea changes. You're going to see a lot of weaker theaters probably go down and go away. You are going to be left with the super duper mega monoliths with like the 16 screens, and you're going to have single screen art houses, and you'll have nothing in between. Excuse me, choking on the truth there. But I expect that will happen over the next 10, 15 years. If not sooner. It depends on where the economy goes from here.
Okay.
So anyway, back to Scarlett Johansson's butt. What was about Scarlett Johansson? He's got a little list.
Yeah, I got a little list. Scarlett Johansson will be producing and starring in, and by the way, she did produce Black Widow, by the way. She will be producing and starring in Tower of Terror, based off of the Universal ride?
Something like that. Yeah, I think it's the Universal Studios ride.
Yeah, so that's a thing. And honestly, I'm actually a big fan of Tower of Terror. I never rode the ride, but the story that they actually had for that, and then there was like a TV movie that came out about that with, I think, Kirsten Dunst, I think it was. Was it or something like that? But yeah, I'm actually a big fan of Tower of Terror. I don't know what it is, but I loved it.
I'm pretty much played out on movies based on amusement park rides. I think the only one I ever really liked was Pirates of the Caribbean, because they actually told a story, and I only liked the first one. Everything else after that was like, didn't care for the Haunted Mansion, don't care about Jungle Ride, which is coming, the latest The Rock Says movie, and don't care about Tower of Terror, Tower of Twisty, whatever it is. But anywho,
Twisty.
that one. So, Scarlett Johansson's butt. What else you got?
Zack Snyder will be directing a Netflix-based Star Wars movie called Rebel Moon.
Say that again for me slowly.
Zack Snyder.
Go ahead.
Yeah, trust me, I didn't want to say his name. we'll be doing a movie based off of the Star Wars franchise
Go ahead.
called Rebel Moon for Netflix.
There you go. That is 4 ways to take me off that fast. Stop it.
Jeez.
Zack Snyder. Now, is this going to be Star Wars style, or is this going to be an actual Star Wars movie? Because I cannot believe Disney would pimp their franchise out like that. Actually, no, I take it back. I absolutely would believe, because Mickey is a rat after all. Go ahead.
So all I know is that
All he know.
he's a big, apparently, and this is what everybody's talking about. He's a fan of the Star Wars franchise, and he's a fan of a samurai thing, a show or something like that. Back in, whatever.
Samurai
And this
Jack,
is supposed to be a combination of both. So it's not actually Star Wars, but it's Star Wars based. If that makes any sense.
So in other words, it's a rip-off of Star Wars.
Yeah. Yeah.
That's putting it politely. Yeah,
Pretty
Zack Snyder. I'm going to go ahead and make the call. Zack Snyder is creatively bankrupt. Always has been. Always will be. What else you got, big boy?
Alright.
Sorry.
Steven Spielberg will not allow Universal to reboot Jaws.
I need the good laugh. Steve, this is what happens when you give your creatives control. Because Steven Spielberg
He's smart.
is one of the very, very few people in Hollywood who can get that in his production contracts. And this was back in Jaws 1 was 1975, I think. 75, 76, that area. It was one of the first huge blockbusters. It was the first big blockbuster movie, the first big summer blockbuster. And Steven Spielberg had it in his contract. He had some merchandising control because George Lucas was saying, you probably should get some control of this, and George Lucas talked him into it. George Lucas, not much of a storyteller, but oh my goodness, a merchandising genius. But anyway, I'll get into that another time. But Steven Spielberg has it in his writer. That's that Amblin Entertainment. That's his studio. Every time Steven Spielberg directs or produces anything, it's through Amblin Entertainment, which means corporate rules apply, which means standard federal labor laws that apply to like you, me, and peons like us do not apply to Amblin Entertainment. They would to Steven Spielberg, but with Amblin Entertainment, because it's a corporation, it is a whole different set of rules. That's the way it's always been. It's why I despise corporate stuff to this day. Anyway, Universal would absolutely love to be able to reboot Jaws because, again, they're creatively bankrupt. But that is, apparently Steven Spielberg's not going to let that happen. Thank you, Steven Spielberg. The fact is, Steven Spielberg is no saint in this because he did allow, 400 Jaws movies to be produced after the first one? And spoiler alert, Jaws dies at the end of the first Jaws movie. But anyway, along with Quint. Other spoiler alert. Go ahead.
This is one of those whole, they want to, they've tried this before where they tried to make a newer Jaws type of film that would have the impact that Jaws did back in the day. They did like Deep Blue Sea, Meg, there's a list of shark movies out there.
And nobody cares.
Yeah, nobody really cares.
It's sharks.
They tried.
The only people who actually care about sharks anymore are the ones watching Discovery Channel for Shark Week.
Yes.
That's
Which
it.
I think is...
Which is also overplayed and creatively bankrupt. That is coming up here shortly. It's premiering on Disney Plus or Discovery Plus first. But anyway.
But yeah, it's... I mean, that's one of those things where I believe that creators should definitely put a mark on their stuff. I get tired of Halloween has done it, Terminator has done it, to where there's been so many movies and they all are horrible, but then the writer and director team back up to bring back, but yeah, all these other movies don't exist. That has already happened.
And the stuff they create is every bit as crappy as everybody else's crap.
Exactly. And it's like, if you don't want other people to make, more movies about this, just be like, look, this was my idea. Mark it. I peed on it. It's mine. Nobody else can touch it. Unless I say so.
Okay. True story. Yesterday I celebrated my 50th birthday with the family. We got together and ate way too much bad barbecue and over frosted cake. But anyway, well, my teeth are still blue from yesterday. But anyway, and you know what the one word I heard over and over when it came to talking about movies and TV shows and stuff? YouTube. YouTube. They're talking about YouTube. I heard Tubi mentioned. We mentioned Pluto TV, and they're like, well, what's that?
Oh yeah, we went on.
Yeah, I see how much attention you get. That side of the family pays to these videos, but
we always talk about Pluto TV. What are we talking about?
Tubi's actually pretty good. They've got some fun stuff on it. There's Stir if you're really slumming it, or the Roku channel. But
do you know why these are still good though? It's because they actually have stuff on there that you haven't seen since you was a kid. Or movies that you haven't seen, or that is not on any other streaming services, but they're on there, and you're like, oh yeah, I remember that movie when I was growing up. That's the one where the kid saves the panda and has to go across China to save its life, or something from poachers, or something like that. There is a movie, The Amazing Panda.
We were just talking about. I thought you were talking about Pandemonium. I always liked that show, but anyway.
Oh yeah, I forgot about that.
The entire entertainment industry is going in a way. Now we talked earlier about Barry Diller. Barry Diller's talking about everything. The movie industry falling apart. The entire Hollywood industry is going to collapse because nobody's watching their crap. Okay? There's a reason Netflix isn't paying Warner for anything. It's not just because Warner wants to keep all their stuff for their HBO Max streaming service or their Discovery Plus service, whatever the hell they are this week. Netflix is not going to pay Universal for their crap. They're not going to pay Discovery for their crap. They're not going to pay any of the other guys for MGM for their crap. Just not going to do it. Although MGM has been playing nicer with Netflix and the streamers than a bunch of the others. They're very forward thinking that way. They have less to lose. Within the next 3 years, you're going to see a sea change. And clock me on this, July 11th, 2021, I'm making this call. By July 4th weekend, 2024, there will be no summer blockbusters. I take that back. There might be 2 or 3, okay? Just for tradition's sake. There will be no summer blockbusters because everything is going to come down to two main things, okay? You're going to have nostalgia, which is what you were talking about, all the old stuff that you remember, that you had warm feelings for. I've got a library full of old graphic novels from stuff that I liked back then and I still like now. And a bunch of crap that I thought I liked back then and I look askance at now. Nostalgia is going to be one, and then the rest of it is going to be crowdsourced. YouTube and Kickstarter. Along those lines, Mystery Science Theater is showing the way on that one. They kick-started their season 10 a few years ago. Netflix wound up buying the rights to that for a certain amount of time. But that belongs to Mystery Science Theater. They'll get that back. Mystery Science Theater did season 10 with Netflix, and then Netflix, screwed everything up. They got a shortened season 11 and then said, man, we're dropping you because it's Netflix. Nobody's going to want to work for Netflix except to get a rep, and then they can crowdsource from then on. Crowdsourcing, crowdfunding is what the industry is going to start turning to, and eventually it'll start reconsolidating. You're going to have this huge, it's going to be like watching an iceberg just explode, and then it slowly starts freezing back together again. Season 12 of Mystery Science Theater is going to be out. They have their own website, they have their own servers, they can do whatever they want, and that's exactly what they're going to do. And the customers will seek them out specifically to watch season 12 of Mystery Science Theater 3000. I know I'm keeping an eye out to see if the Gizmoplex turns up anywhere, because they'll have their own app to watch stuff with. The idea of these major studios risking $100 million, $150 million, $200 million on a single movie, and carrying all these legacy unions, these legacy associations, these legacy academies, these legacy industry groups, all this stuff, all that's going to go away because the major studios will go bankrupt. They won't have any money for it. Right now, ask Warner Media, who is struggling to get people to pay attention to HBO Max. They've got the HBO fans still, and that's it. They haven't managed to attract anybody else. Netflix is carrying its own weight. Disney Plus is carrying the entire studio's weight right now. It's the only thing that's really making money. Except for the parks. They finally got the parks back open, so they managed to survive. But everybody else is going to... They're going to fall apart, or they're going to become little specialty groups that, because they own all this IP, oh boy, it's so great, we own Batman. Mm-hmm. Until you've run Batman into the ground, nobody wants to see his old stuff either. So, be careful, since you're still not investing in trying to learn how to tell better stories. You just go ahead and keep cannibalizing yourself. Eventually, you're going to run out of limbs to eat. So anyway, you were saying, what's your other... Sorry I'm being all doom and gloom today, but that's what I'm seeing down the immediate future right now.
That's my love. That's my love, and it's going away.
And we're trying to warn people. That's why we do this show. We try to warn people. We only have like 7 or 8 people watching, but hey, you 7 or 8 people who watch these shows, you guys know this is coming. So... maybe one of you will get somebody to listen. I don't know. But anyway.
So, anyways, much more depressing news.
Yay!
Filmmaker Richard Donner passed away at the age of 91.
That's a good long life.
Yeah. Richard Donner did pretty much the first superhero movie put on the big screen, right?
The first modern one that really took it was the first serious treatment of a superhero in a major Hollywood release. Superman, 1977, with Christopher Reeve and Margot Kidder.
Yes. He brought that to life. He's also the same person that brought the Lethal Weapon franchise. Mm-hmm. He's done a lot of Goonies.
Mm-hmm. Richard Donner's been involved in the Hollywood industry for a very long time. He's left an indelible impression, and of course, I'm going to be grateful because Richard Donner is the reason his assistant on Superman 77. His assistant there was a young lad by the name, a young sawbuck by the name of Jeff Johns. And as a result, Jeff Johns learned from Richard Donner the importance of storytelling and the importance of knowing your material and having a plan and executing it well. Pacing, plotting, people. 1, 2, 3. Pacing, plotting, people. The people are most important, the plotting moves them along, and the pacing helps you know the pace, the gate at which you need to run. And those are all successful, all hallmarks of a successful story. So at 91, I think Richard Donner accomplished a lot. He's going to be remembered for a long, long time, and every good geek, every good, fair, fine geek with heart on his chest will shed a tear and pour out some yoo-hoo for him. So I don't know where in the world I was going with that. Never mind. But I think you got one more story. Did you have anything else you wanted to say about Richard Donner?
No, just like pretty much what you said.
Not the Donner Party.
Will be missed and.
But anyway, thank you for everything, Richard Donner. We'll miss you. We'll be pulling for you, big guy.
Damn good job.
Anyway, So did you have anything else that you wanted to
No.
By my count, you had one more.
No, that was it.
Let me see.
Richard Donner.
Zack Snyder, Scarlett Johansson's butt, and Steven Spielberg. Okay, that takes care of that.
I had nothing.
We did not need anything more.
I did not put nothing on there about her butt. Okay.
No, she took care of that.
What to show her butt? She's happy
Scarlett
now.
Johansson's going to show her butt in every screen. It's going to be on our camera one of these days. I don't know how, but she'll get it on there if I don't edit it in. But anyway, we've had way too much barbecue and sugar this weekend. Anyway, any parting thoughts before we wrap this? Because I'm a tired tiger. My vacation is over. I have to go back to work tomorrow. So. I'm feeling feisty right now. What do you guys say?
Done.
That's what I thought. Well, until next time, then. I know I'm forgetting a story. There's something. I can't remember what it was.
Oh, you want to show them STINKORRRR?
Oh yes, we got STINKORRRR back. Remember I was raving about STINKORRRR? I meant to show it off and never got around to doing it today. STINKORRRR from He-Man and the Masters of the Universe. That is STINKORRRR.
STINKORRRR.
I love STINKORRRR because I just love the sheer chutzpah of it. For those of you who can't tell, that's a merman head on a merman head and legs on a He-Man torso and He-Man arms, and then and he smells like old plastic. So that's STINKORRRR.
STINKORRRR.
Yeah, here's STINKORRRR. But anyway, it's let me look over my old list and see if there was something I forgot, because I thought there was something I knew. I mean, you know, no, nothing there. So, so in that case, boys and girls, I'm gonna go ahead and wrap this. We'll see you, I guess, in 7 days, maybe next Saturday, because somebody's gonna be celebrating his own birthday in 7 days. July 18th, make sure you give the head of Movie Geek a scream or two. Make sure you laugh at his elderly butt, because he's been giving me the hassles all week.
Hassles?
The hassles. He's giving me the troubles. Giving me the troubles is what he's giving me.
I was never, ever doing that. Nope.
Not me. He did it. But anyway, till next time, boys and girls. Spike.
Chris.
Ciao. We'll see you all down the road. Behave yourselves. And incredibly enough, we're getting this done in under an hour. Incredible. We're only at 36 minutes.
That's because there wasn't much there.
That's true. So
and
make sure you don't find as much next time.
I actually thought that Black Widow thing was going to be longer, but then I realized I don't have much to say.
Because you can't remember who any of them were. Because the story was poorly told. Anyway, remember, he's the one who gave it 5 stars, not me.
I knew it was going to get
I blamed Don McLean. Anyway, till next time, ta.